You may have heard of different parenting styles: authoritarian, permissive, authoritative. You've probably heard these terms before, but what do they really mean in the context of parenting? And more importantly, do they actually make a difference in how your child turns out? Well, the answer is yes, they do. And understanding the psychology behind different parenting styles can help us become more intentional, more effective, and more attuned to the needs of our children. These styles come from the work of developmental psychologist Diana Baumrind, who identified key patterns in how parents interact with their children. Her research focused on two core dimensions of parenting: responsiveness and demandingness. Responsiveness is about warmth, support, and emotional availability, how attuned a parent is to their child's emotional and developmental needs. Whereas demandingness refers to the expectations, the structure, and the discipline a parent brings, how much they guide, correct, or push for certain behaviors in their children. Now, when you combine high or low levels of these two traits, you get four distinctive parenting styles. So let's start with authoritarian parenting. This style is high in demands, but low in responsiveness. It's rule focused, strict, and it often uses punishment as the primary tool for discipline. The authoritarian parent might say things like, "because I said so," without much room for discussion or explanation. These parents often value obedience and respect above everything else. But they can also come across as cold or inflexible. Children raised in authoritarian homes may become obedient and efficient rule followers, but they may also struggle with self-esteem. They struggle with decision making, and they may struggle with emotional closeness in relationships later in life. The structure is there, but the warmth and the care is missing. The next is permissive parenting, which is high in responsiveness, but low in demands. These parents tend to be warm and nurturing and accepting, but they rarely enforce rules or expectations on their kids. They tend to avoid conflict and may act more like a friend than a parent. A permissive parent may say something like, "Do whatever makes you happy," even if the child's behavior is harmful or disruptive. These children often feel loved, but they may have trouble with impulse control or responsibility or respecting boundaries of other people. They're given lots of emotional support, but without enough structure to help them develop that self discipline. And the next style is the one that research consistently links to the most positive outcomes in children: authoritative parenting. And this style combines high demands with high responsiveness. Authoritative parents set clear expectations and they enforce rules, but they do it with empathy and flexibility. They explain the reasons behind the rules. They listen and open to hearing their child's perspective. They support autonomy while still providing guidance. An authoritative parent might say things like, "I understand you're upset, but here's why this rule exists." These children tend to grow up with higher self esteem, better academic and social skills, and stronger emotion regulation. They've had a consistent framework, but they've also been heard and supported within that framework. And the fourth parenting style, which often gets less attention, but this one has the most troubling outcomes. It's uninvolved or neglectful parenting. This is low in both demands and low in responsiveness. These parents might be physically present, but emotionally absent. They don't offer structure and they're not tuned to their child's needs. Sometimes this happens because of overwhelming stress or mental health difficulties or lack of parenting support, but the impact on the child is often significant. Children raised in these types of environments may feel emotionally abandoned. They tend to struggle with attachment. They struggle with emotion regulation and academic performance. When neither structure nor support is available, children often lack both the internal stability and then the external guidance. Now, it's important to understand that no parent fits perfectly into any one of these boxes all the time. Parenting's dynamic, and most of us move between styles depending on the situation or our stress levels or our own upbringing. But these categories can be helpful as a framework for self reflection. And what really matters is recognizing the balance between warmth and structure. Children thrive when they know that they're both loved but also guided. Warmth alone isn't enough if there are no expectations or boundaries on them. And structure alone isn't enough if it comes without empathy and understanding. And all that being said, context also matters. Parenting doesn't happen in a vacuum. Culture plays a big role in how different behaviors are interpreted. In some cultures, for instance, stricter forms of parenting may be more normative and not necessarily associated with the same negative outcomes we see in Western contexts. And child temperament matters too. Some children may need more structure to feel safe, others may need more flexibility to thrive. So while authoritative parenting is often associated with the most positive outcomes, there's no one size fits all approach to what the best parenting style for this particular child is. What matters most is being attuned to your child, being willing to adapt and to reflect and to respond intentionally in a way that parents them in the most effective way. So you might be thinking, hey, authoritative parenting sounds good. How exactly do I do that? Well, the idea is it's not about being perfect. It's not about being perfect and getting it right all the time. It's about being consistent and being emotionally available and being willing to guide with compassion. And that might mean working on your communication, explaining rules instead of just enforcing them. It might mean noticing when you're reacting out of frustration and slowing down before responding. It could involve checking in with your child more regularly or setting firmer boundaries when things feel too loose. These are small shifts that can make a big difference over time. So, if you found yourself leaning too far into control or too far into lenience and indulgence, it's okay. You're not stuck there. Parenting is dynamic, it's a skill, and one that can keep developing over time, no matter where you start from. And the fact that you're thinking about it at all is a good first step, because that awareness is where change begins. And if you're interested in learning more about how overprotecting children can be a form of intolerance of uncertainty, I'd encourage you to check out this video. So that's all for today's video. As always, thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one.